Imagine this. The year is 33 AD, and Jesus is praying peacefully in the Garden of Gethsemane when, bam, a blue flash of light introduces us to a team of assassins from 2022. Their mission? Not to save the world, but to rewrite it entirely by killing Jesus before Christianity can even begin. Armed with guns, gadgets, and a time travel device that would make Doc Brown proud, these trigger-happy time travelers swiftly neutralize everyone around Jesus and shoot the Son of God himself. Of course, one of the assassins taunts Jesus, saying, "If you're the Son of God, why didn't you dodge the bullets?" Jesus, ever humble, replies, "My time has come." Spoiler, it's not exactly a happy ending. At least not yet. Fast forward or back, depending on your point of view, to a few months earlier. Meet Brant, a former military officer and devout Christian whose life takes a tragic turn when a car accident kills his wife and children. Devastated and questioning God's existence, Brant becomes the perfect pawn for Ahmed. Ahmed, a billionaire with a vendetta against Christianity, is secretly funding a team of young scientists led by Ram Goldstein to develop time travel under the guise of advancing technology. Ahmed's real plan? Take his hatred of Christianity back in time and erase it from existence. Clearly, this guy skipped the ethics class during billionaire training. Meanwhile, Ram and his team accidentally discover time travel while experimenting with matter transfer. Enter Ahmed. He sees an opportunity to execute his diabolical plan. Ahmed forces Ram to complete the time machine with a classic villain move, hostages and torture. When the machine finally works, Brant leads a team of modern assassins back to 33 AD. They eliminate the disciples like a turbocharged Call of Duty squad and finish the job by assassinating Jesus. Mission accomplished, right? Not exactly. Ram and his genius friends notice the temporal shenanigans and try to undo the damage. But by the time they reach 33 AD, it's too late. Pro tip: always consider time zone differences when traveling through time. Here's where things get weird. Back in the present, reality starts to change. Ahmed's office turns into a post-apocalyptic wasteland filled with underground creatures. Humanity is extinct, and the last surviving scientist is devoured. Why? Because messing with time is never a good idea. Back to the Future already taught us this. You don't mess with history. Curiously, Assassin 33 AD was marketed as a Christian movie with a sci-fi twist, but its absurd plot feels more like a cross between Tenet and The Passion of the Christ. Speaking of choices, let's talk about what not to do. For example, torturing your scientist instead of just offering a raise? Terrible idea. What I'd do differently is maybe send a therapist along with the assassins. They clearly have unresolved issues. Now, if you could go back in time to prevent an event from happening without creating an apocalyptic scenario, of course, what would it be? I'd love to hear your opinion, but let's get back to the story. Ahmed's henchmen spot our heroes, leading to a classic chase scene. Cornered in a lab, Amy uses her best miming skills via CCTV to warn her alternate self of impending doom, only to meet a tragic end moments later. Meanwhile, in 33 AD, Felix and Simon are killing time, waiting for their now-deceased comrades. Deciding that ancient history isn't as glamorous as it seems, they attempt a return trip. Felix manages to get back to the present, only to find Ahmed and his cronies preparing a surprise party at the time machine. Ahmed's grand plan to erase Christianity by eliminating Jesus results in Surprise, a dystopian world. Who could have guessed that a world without forgiveness would be so depressing? Felix, unable to cope with the irony, perishes in this grim reality. The surviving second versions of the scientists, after binge-watching CCTV footage, rush to save Ram from the warehouse. They then decide to outsmart themselves by creating time loops within time loops, traveling back to 33 AD, just 10 minutes before Brant arrives. A shootout ensues, resulting in the deaths of Felix and Simon. Ram and a severely injured Amy escape, while Brant and Sabair pull a disappearing act. Amy, ever the devout Christian, urges Ram to stop the dynamic duo from turning Jesus into the biggest spoiler in history. Ram, channeling his inner Boy Scout, uses his clothes to bandage Amy before setting out on his sacred mission. Simon, whose time travel device decides to take an extended vacation, has a fanboy moment upon meeting Jesus. He tries to convince the Messiah to skip the whole crucifixion ordeal, citing the Passion of the Christ as a reference. Jesus, staying true to the script, insists on fulfilling his destiny. Later, Ram also meets Jesus but gets a cold reception from a Roman centurion. After a narrow escape, he returns to find Amy's condition worsening. To make matters worse, Ahmed's henchmen have disabled their time travel devices, leaving them stranded in the past without a ticket home. Brandt and Sabayer, attempting to blend in, blow their covert operation when Sabayer commits the cardinal sin of stealing a tomato. This leads to their arrest and eventual crucifixion alongside Jesus. Meanwhile, Ahmed, not wanting to miss the action, time travels to Jesus' tomb, aiming to prevent any rumors of resurrection. One earthquake and a panicked button press later, both he and Jesus' body disappear from the tomb. Ram and Simon, arriving at the now empty tomb, seize the moment to declare Jesus' resurrection, inadvertently kick-starting the very religion Ahmed wanted to erase. With Amy's passing, Ram and Simon, guided by a mysterious woman who conveniently found Sabayer's discarded time travel device, decide to go back in time to prevent the murder of Ram's parents. They manage to neutralize Ahmed's henchmen, but Simon meets his end after executing a program to eliminate all time loops. Ram confronts Ahmed, who, like a true villain, monologues just long enough for Ram to stab him. The FBI arrives just in time to clean up the mess. As the timelines merge, duplicate characters disappear, leaving the original scientists alive and well. 3 months later, the team decides to play guardian angels, preventing the car accident that killed Brandt's family. Ram's ingenious plan involves a stop sign, effectively saving the day. Brandt, witnessing this miraculous intervention, wonders if divine intervention just cheated death. If I found myself in 33 AD with a malfunctioning time travel device, altering significant historical events would be out of the question. Instead, I'd focus on observing and documenting the era, ensuring minimal interference with the timeline. Now, I leave you with a fantastic video to watch. I'll see you there.